We are anonymous. No faces. No flakes. No permission slips. The Epstein files were supposed to expose the truth. Instead, they may have exposed something even bigger. Allegations that Trump's own Justice Department hid critical records from the American people. Now Todd Blanche stands accused of violating federal law, and in court, he reportedly didn't even deny the most damaging allegations. According to a remarkable court filing, that is exactly what has happened. Independent journalist and legal analyst Katie Phang has taken the extraordinary step of suing Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, demanding that the Department of Justice comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. The law passed by Congress and signed by Donald Trump in late 2025 was supposed to ensure the public release of records connected to Jeffrey Epstein, his network, and the government's handling of the case. The legislation required extensive transparency, prohibited politically motivated concealment of information. Reports following the law's passage repeatedly raised concerns that the Department of Justice failed to fully comply with its obligations. Katie Phang's lawsuit alleges that Todd Blanche violated the law in at least 5 separate ways. And here's where things become truly extraordinary. When Blanche responded to the lawsuit, he did not directly deny those alleged violations. That silence has now become one of the central arguments in the case. According to a new filing submitted by Phang, Blanche's opposition brief stretched across 22 pages. Yet despite all those pages, Phang argues that he failed to defend any of the specific actions challenged in her lawsuit. The filing states that Blanche did not defend the redaction of names connected to Epstein's associates in sensitive communications. He did not defend redacting the names of potential co-conspirators in Department of Justice documents. He did not defend withholding documents containing allegations involving Donald Trump. He did not defend exempting himself from reviewing foreign language documents. And he did not defend his failure to publish a legally required redaction log, a requirement that was allegedly overdue by more than 6 months. According to Phang's filing, these are not minor technical issues. They strike at the heart of the transparency law itself. Her legal team argues that Blanche avoided defending these actions because he could not credibly defend them. That is a devastating accusation for the nation's highest law enforcement official. The filing further argues that when courts evaluate whether to issue a preliminary injunction, one of the most important factors is the likelihood that the plaintiff will ultimately succeed on the merits of the case. Phang argues that Blanche's failure to contest the core allegations effectively strengthens her position and demonstrates a substantial likelihood of success. The lawsuit itself has attracted national attention because it centers on the Epstein file, a subject that continues to generate controversy years after Jeffrey Epstein's death. Congress passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act after intense public pressure and demands for accountability. Lawmakers from both parties argued that the American public deserved access to records related to Epstein's criminal enterprise and to any failures by government institutions that may have allowed powerful individuals to escape scrutiny. Yet from the beginning, the rollout of those files was plagued by controversy. Instead of releasing all documents within the time frame established by law, the Department of Justice conducted a staggered release process that immediately drew criticism from Democrats, Republicans, victims advocates, and transparency groups. Critics argued that large portions of the records remained hidden, heavily redacted, or delayed. Some members of Congress accused the Department of Justice of failing to comply with the spirit and letter of the law. This is where Donald Trump enters the picture. Trump repeatedly portrayed himself as a champion of transparency regarding the Epstein files. His supporters frequently promised that hidden truths would finally be revealed once his administration controlled the Justice Department. But critics argue that the reality looked very different. Instead, within a clean and complete disclosure process, the administration became entangled in accusations of delays, missing documents, questionable redactions, and inconsistent explanations. Reports described internal disagreements, growing political pressure, and bipartisan frustration over how the files were being handled. For years, Trump cultivated an image of someone willing to expose corruption. Yet now, members of his own administration face allegations that they withheld information from the public while claiming to support transparency. That contradiction has become impossible to ignore. Katie Phang's lawsuit argues that journalists cannot effectively investigate the facts surrounding Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and others connected to the scandal if the government selectively withholds information. Her legal action seeks a court order requiring compliance with the transparency law, and even requests independent oversight of the process. The case has become even more significant because of allegations that documents containing references to Donald Trump were among those withheld or redacted. The question is whether the court will conclude that Todd Blanche violated federal law and whether the Department of Justice must take additional steps to comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. For the Trump administration, the stakes could not be higher. Every new filing keeps the Epstein story alive. Every unanswered question fuels further suspicion. Every allegation of secrecy undermines claims of transparency. And every attempt to control information only increases public demand to see what remains hidden. The irony is impossible to miss. We are anonymous. We are watching. We are listening. Expect us.